Welcome to Pages to Impact, the show where stories inspire change and every conversation is a chance to learn, grow, and find hope. And today, we have a truly remarkable guest whose journey will move and motivate you. Our guest, Janice Holliman, knows what it means to fight for life, again and again. She's faced serious illness, endured countless surgeries, and overcome challenges that would break most people. Yet through it all, Janice has held on to her faith, her hope, and her smile. In this episode, we'll dive into Janice's incredible story of resilience, strength, and the power of never giving up. Whether you're facing your own battles or just looking for a dose of inspiration, Janice's journey is sure to remind you that no matter how tough life gets, you can keep going. So, get ready for an episode filled with courage, wisdom, and heart. This is Pages to Impact, and this is the story of a true survivor.
So welcome to Pages to Impact, the show where stories inspire change. Today's guest is Janice Holliman, knows what it means to fight for life over and over again. She's battled serious illness, endured countless surgeries, and faced challenges that would break most people. Yet, she's still here, still standing, and still smiling. In her book, IamASurvivor, Janice shares not just her struggles, but the faith, hope, and grit that keep her going. So Janice, we're so glad that you're here. Let's dive into your incredible journey. Would you like to share a bit about yourself?
Well, let's see about myself. I am a wife of over 45 years. I am a mother. I am a daughter. I am a caretaker. I am always busy. That's it. Busy, busy, busy.
Awesome. Well, being busy is good, right? Isn't it? Right? The Bible says.
Good boy.
The Bible says an idle mind is dangerous, so it's good that you're always busy. Now let's begin with your book. Your book's description says that being a survivor means having the heart of a fighter and staying true to who you are no matter what challenges you face. So can you take us back to your life before all events, in IamASurvivor? Who was Janice before these, health crises? And did you already have that fighter spirit back then? Or is it something you discovered as you went through your trials?
Well, it's something about it. Ironically, just the other day, I found out something from my mother that when she was pregnant with me, and this was the very first time I heard this, that the doctors told her that she should have an abortion because something was wrong. But she did not. And I came out healthy, but also, issues. As a teenager, I got very, very sick. And it was like if she wouldn't have took me to the doctor the day that she did, the next day that the doctor said I would have been dead. And so that was, always issue. I've always had issues, but did not know what it was until after I got married. And after I got married and I started having a lot of problems, ups and downs and so forth. And even including the weight gain that I had that happened. But my thing is that I kept moving and kept going. And I was always, like I say, busy with different things, doing different things. I am a person now, I'll be honest with you, when I was in school, I hated school. But after I got out and grew up and had a child of my own and so forth, I really learned more out of school than I did of life. And I realized that my father told me that I took a lot after his mother. So as my personality, I guess they say that my strength came from her because she was a very strong woman. And with that being said, I've always been the type of person where people have always felt comfortable to come to. I even was given the name Tranquil, and I'm like, wow, not even thinking about it. But then as time went on, when I got, when I found out in 1998 that I had Crohn's disease, and that was like the beginning of a whole new realm for me. But before then, before I even had my son, I have had many surgeries and went on and all that kind of stuff. And I had to learn about myself. I had to learn about paying attention to myself on the inside as well as on the outside, because I felt like, because after one doctor told me, and it, kind of hurt my feeling, but it's okay, that I needed to have a surgery. But he said, before you do, I want you to lose 40 pounds. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm in all this pain and this and that. You can't do it. Now, what if it was an emergency? You would be able to do it. But that was that. I went and found another doctor, and she told me she could do the surgery fine. And that let me know right then and there, that do not stop at one person when they tell you something. You go and find another way. And so that's exactly what I did. Really
Awesome.
and true.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So how did hearing that diagnosis, and facing the initial crisis impact your life and your family?
Well, with Crohn's,
Yeah, with Crohn's disease.
well, let's put it like this. When I first went, it was my gynecologist. She was asking me some questions, and she referred me to a gastrologist.
Mm-hmm.
I went to him, and he told me at the time I had helicopter bacteria, but his first words were, "You have cancer." And I'm like, cancer? And I'm like trying to wrap my head around that. And then he told me what it was, called helicopter bacteria. And then he explained that at that time that no one knew exactly how that come about, environmental or whatever, however I got it. And then, believe it, 6 months later,
Mm-hmm.
I received a phone call from him, and he told me that I had Crohn's disease over the phone, and that I need to go and see a surgeon to have surgery. And so set that appointment up, and we did, and went through all of that with all the tests that the doctor needed to do and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the day that I went to have the surgery, I had my family and some friends that was with me.
Mm-hmm.
And when they got ready to, with the nurses putting me in the room and everything like that, and I never forget, one nurse came in, she go, "Boy, I'm tired." She said, "I have a 20-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I started laughing at her and said, "Wow, you really started over." So by that time, right after I said that, the other nurse came in holding two pregnancy test sticks in her hand and stuff like that. And I'm like, why does she have this? And I'm like, she go, "We called the doctor. He told me to tell you that he would not be able to do your surgery today." And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "Why not?" And she said, "Because you're pregnant." And I'm like, and the other nurse was still in there. I'm like, I looked at the corner of the wall, like, how did that happen? And the reason why I said that was because after I had my son, I wanted more children, but
Mm-hmm.
I could have them. And my doctor had told me that I had scar tissues and I need to have surgery in order to remove the scar tissues before I can have any more children.
Mm.
And that never happened. And that was like when my son was 8 years old by that time. And so that broke my heart when she told me that, and because she was pregnant and everything like that. And I hated that woman, but it was not her fault. It was mine. But then
Oh,
that's why I said, how could that happen? Because I never did have the surgery to correct that. So that was that. And painfully, I wind up, I had to make an appointment to go see my gynecologist, and
mhm.
that, and she like, nobody touch her. Nobody touched her but me. And she walked in the room, and I'm like, she go, how did that happen? I'm like, you tell me. You the one that told me that could not ever have anymore.
Yeah.
So we went through that. But then at 4 months, I wind up, I had a miscarriage. And it was a little girl that broke, our hearts and everything like that. So it still bothered me till this day because, you never get over anything like that.
Yeah. True.
Um, ain't no one that really loved children and wants to be a mother or anything like that would never get over that.
Yeah.
So it took me many, many, many years to be able to be around babies, to look at them because it will just break my heart. And so, surviving that. But then after I had the miscarriage wind up, we had to do, okay, let's go ahead on and get the surgery done. And I'm like, wind up having the surgery, and I had to have my small intestine and half of my large intestine removed from that. So that was it. Like I said, there's no cure, but we got to remove this. And so that's that. That's it for me. A beginning of that from Crohn's disease. Yes.
Wow. That's definitely a very, terrifying experience.
Mhm.
I still felt the emotion, about the miscarriage thing. I'm so sorry about the loss. Um, but I just wanted to, you know, you know, tell you, like I said, the first time that we met, your energy is different. Like you're totally different. And hearing this story from you right now, like if I was that person, I couldn't imagine if I could handle it. And you're just truly an inspiration. Janice, in the years that followed, you face a litany of health crises, one after another, from Crohn's disease and, 14 blood clots to toxic gut syndrome and countless surgeries, right? How did you
Yes.
keep going through such a relentless onslaught of challenges? Where were moments you thought like, I can't take it anymore? And what pulled you through those low points when everything felt overwhelming?
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. I view myself as a person of light, meaning that I love to look at the bright side of things,
Mm-mm.
no matter how dark it is. I know that it's there, but I'm not going to let it rob me of who I am. And really and truly, I am, like I say, I love being happy. I love being a person of thinking of good. So when things happen to me, I don't ask the question, why me? I ask the question, what can I learn from this? And I take everything that I go through, no matter how bad it is or how sad it is, I look at something positive in it. And I've learned that by doing that, it made me who I am today. Everything that I've gone through have made me stronger. because when we going through trials and tribulations of things, I look at it as a test and viewing it as how I'm going to come out on the other side. And if I survive it, the saying goes, what don't kill you will make you stronger.
True.
And that is the point right there for me, that I look at that and I feel like there are certain people that has their name in a bowl that is being tested for certain things just to really, truly. And each time, you pass those tests, then you go, "Phew, I passed it. Okay, I'm better. Thank you." But I don't, right now, I really want to take a break from it and whatever. So then when the next one come up, like, oh, wow, here's another test, then you realize, oh, no, that was not a test. That was just something to prepare you for this test. And so that is how I view things. And some people may not think that it's realistic, but it is. And by having a viewpoint on things of how you view things really help you, because healing begins with the mind. And
True.
if you have that mindset about things, then it will. And even if it's to the point where it may be that you're not going to heal from it, like with Crohn's, there is no cure for it for me. And that is something that I found out why, when I was a baby, that I had Crohn's disease, and it comes from hereditary on my father's side. And I know that 4 members of my family on my father's side that had Crohn's disease, and now that they're all of them are dead, but I'm still here. And as myself, I just keep going and I keep focusing on living for the moment. I take for the moment as a breath in and a breath out. So that's how I live, because with Crohn's, you could be up one split second and knock you down the next.
Wow. I really love what you said. Whatever you put in the mind becomes your reality. And I totally agree. And, your perspective, the way you view things, it's really amazing. So, wow, I want to say thank you for, sharing that. I'm pretty sure we got listeners and audience that would actually listen to this podcast. I'm pretty sure it would really help them out, especially when they're facing a lot of challenges, right? So, Janice, your journey didn't just affect you, it changed your family's life as well. How do your loved ones cope up with your prolonged illness and setbacks? In what ways did these challenges impact your family dynamics, and how did their support shape your journey?
Wow. They were there for me, because there were times when, before I had my surgery,
Mhm.
that I could not even sit down. I find myself sometime I used to go and pick up my husband from work every day.
Mhm.
And soon as I go, I would lay down in the car to wait on him to come out from work. And I would go, then it got to the point that I couldn't even get up out of the bed. I
Mhm.
was just in the bed, couldn't even sit up. That's how bad it get. That's how horrible Crohn's disease is, that no one that never had this condition, and back
Mhm.
then, they did not know how to tell you that you had Crohn's without doing tests of elimination.
Mhm.
Now it's much easier to find out that you have it. And as for me, I can't take any of the medications that is made for Crohn's disease, because I'm allergic because Crohn's knocks down the immune system. And for me, I am allergic right now over 60 different medications. Through the
Wow.
years, and I've learned that I cannot take these things. And I tell the doctor, some of them, they would not believe me. And then something happened. And then they find out that they should have listened to what I've said. And that's why I really, really and truly had to learn about myself
Mm.
inside and out by paying attention, because the only way that I could help myself is to learn myself and learn about myself. And that, for me, I started out that I needed to know about my heritage. And I did. And I did a DNA test to find out, because I want to know, where did this come from?
Mm.
Where did these different types of illnesses that I have come from? And wow, when I did the test and it came back, it showed that I have 12 different race inside of me. So I mean, really, I'm like, wow, this is totally, totally it. And that was the beginning of learning about myself, you know? And also by listening to one special doctor, I never forget, he told me one day, he said, look, he said, you see me in this wheelchair? He said, one Sunday, I was working on my car, and the car jack fell, and the car fell on me and broke my back. So I know from a patient point of view and as a doctor's point of view. He
Mhm.
said, whatever you do, he said, do not, this is his words, do not ever let anyone tell you what you can and what you cannot do.
Like it.
And I promise I will. And that's what I've been doing
Well,
ever since.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Um,
Mhm.
Another thing, Janice, your story also includes an incredible ordeal with, toxic mold that forced you to lose practically everything over the course of 40 years, right? What happened during
Yes.
that chapter of your life? And how did you cope with losing so much, like your home, your possessions, even your health due to mold? And what did it teach you about starting over or staying resilient in the face of yet another catastrophe?
Well, first of all, I've always been like this about material things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just material things. But you do not know the scope of it until you lose. And not just about losing just about everything. No, when you only can get out with the clothes on your back. And that is the point for me. And the hardest part was that my husband was affected by it. And it made him sick until it's bad for him. But during that time, I've had, like I said, I had many different surgeries that he had been there. But during the years, I've with the mole, that we was living in a very nice apartment and for 10 years, and did not know that we had the mold there in there, because what you call the shingles pulled away from the outside, and that's how it ran down into the walls, and that's how it came in. So for 10 years we was living in that position, or that situation, and it affected, and especially where we found it was in the area where I call his man cave, and that was the worst of it. But finding out that it was all over their whole apartment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like the day that we had to move out everything after some months of everything after they call themselves fixing the apartments. And then my lung doctor told me that, because he had said, I wonder, why is it that you keep having problems with your breathing, with whatever going on?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I told him about the mold and so forth, he said, "Look," he said, you cannot take anything with you because it's in everything that you have, that including glass, that including clothes,
Mm-hmm.
plates, everything. I mean, really and truly, and which was the truth. And so we did. I could not, my body had become like a mold detective. And whenever I'm around mold or fungus, anything, I would get weak. My legs would just collapse. I'm up under me. I can't breathe and so
Mm-hmm.
forth before I even know what it is. I have walked in to doctors' offices and have told them, you got mold in here. And really and truly that they found out that it was true. And some
Mm-hmm.
of them did the work to renovate it, and so forth. But I just told them, you just masked it. You did not get rid of it, you know? So so I just had to change doctors. And that's just it. I cannot be around it whatsoever. One doctor office I was in there, he had plenty of plants. And I was sitting in there and there was like the plants had water, whatever, whatever. And I was sitting in the chair. When they came in the room, I was collapsing, about to fall out of the chair. And they grabbed me and pulled me out the room and told me, you cannot be in that room. And so now they never let me go into a room where plants are and so forth that he had. But which he had done better with the watering system of it and everything. But yeah, that just me. Even we lost everything that we had of 40
Mm-hmm.
years.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, um, I we moved in with my son, and we was there for like 3 years until he got married, and then I went home to do some things for my mom and to take care of my brother, and we was there for 8 years before we moved back up here. Then
Mm-hmm.
that's when we moved into another apartment, and lo and behold, I had my son to check it out and everything like that because we was like 4 hours away, and when we moved in, I think about a month after that, it started, the paint started dying off, and I could tell. Then found out that it was mold in that one too. It was worse, the first one, 10 times worse. My husband was affected by the first one and then affected by the second one. So, and everything that we had was brand new, and because we could lost everything, so that means that of 2 years, less than 2 years, still paying on the furniture and stuff like that. We had to get rid of everything from that also. So that means twice that we lost everything.
Yeah, I just can't imagine from moving from one place to another and you're still facing the same problem.
Yeah,
It's definitely, a headache.
yeah.
Janice, throughout all of this, it's very clear that, your faith and hope played a major role in your ability to endure. Were there moments where your faith was truly tested by these hardships? And how did your personal faith or spiritual belief sustain you during the darkest times of your life?
Well, I put it like this. There are 9 words that I live by every day. And out of those 9 words, every week I will pull one to work on for the week. And you
Mhm.
can't do one without the other.
Okay.
And so with that is what helped me focus to be, to have hope, to have joy, to know for peace and all those things. But endurance, that's how I endured, because me being the person that I am, that I want to always be a good person. And
Mm-hmm.
being a good person, that means you're going to focus on something good
Mm-hmm.
and want to always show good towards other people and to help other people. And that is my thing for me, because everything that I go through, that I learn, I share it with other people and help them if they have the frame of mind, an open mind to that want to accept what I'm saying and, learn from themselves, because I'm not going to tell them to do it because this is what worked for me.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to tell them or suggest to them that this is what worked for me and see how it works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I tell you, my husband, brother, wife, she was sick in the bed and everything. And after I wrote the book, I gave my family them all a copy. And she was laying there and reading the book. And she like called me one day. She said, Janice, she said, I never knew that you went through all this. She said, I can't do this. I can't do the things that you do. I said, yes, you can. I said, you are stronger than you think you are, really and truly. And it was sad that her son died, and he was the one that was taking care of her because her husband was also sick. And then he died. But you know what? One day, she pulled herself out of the bed, and now she's up doing things, driving and everything else. So really, like I told her, you can do it, that you are a survivor too. You just don't know it. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Being a good person is challenging, but I agree. You just have to do good all the time, whatever or however people treat you. I really, truly believe that. Janice, after everything you endured, how have these experiences changed you as a person? In what ways is Janice today different from the Janice before all the illness? I believe you mentioned earlier this is something that you've perhaps gotten from your grandma. It's your way of life, your perspective, your priorities, or understanding of yourself. What personal growth or new sense of purpose have you gained through surviving so many trials?
Strength. That's the number one thing, is strength, and not ever letting anyone tell me that when I say something is wrong with me
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, I'm not going to let you tell me that I'm wrong. And when I know myself better than you do, because I've been living with this body now over 60 years. And with that being said, you only know me for 5 minutes. So you don't know me. You don't know me at all. So really and truly, I've learned, I went through things where I never forget. When I was a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
a friend, um, told me that you always smiling, you always laughing, you always happy. And, why is it this and that? I said, you know what? You don't have to worry about it. From this day forward, I will never laugh again. I did that for 2 weeks. That was the most miserable time in my life. After those 2 weeks, I said, I would never let anyone ever tell me who to be and what type of person to be. So, with that being said, I went back to myself, and that is exactly who I am today. And once I found out about my Crohn's disease and so forth and what I went through,
Mm-hmm.
and people they'll tell me that when I had my surgery and everything like that and how sick I was and all that kind of stuff, they said that they would not ever believe that I have those issues going on because I don't act like it. I don't carry myself like it, you know? And even till today with the issues of the same thing, because of what I have to live with, not only from Crohn's disease, but toxic gut syndrome, Helicobacteria, diverticulitis, and those are just for the stomach. Then I have heart problems. I have so many different other things. I broke my back in 2 places. I broke my neck at the same time. And believe me, I walked around for 3 months, didn't even know I had a broken back and a broken neck. And I was doing things, I was whatever, went to a funeral that was 3 hours away driving. I kept going and I keep going. Even
Wow.
to this day, I keep going because I have to, because no one else is going to take care of me but myself,
True.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what you said. Just keep going. I just can't
going.
imagine, not being able to notice the pains in the neck and in the back, and you've been doing it, a lot of things
Yeah.
for months and not even noticing it. Like, wow. I'm not sure if
We
I could bear the pain if it's me, but you're just really amazing. So keep going. It's a beautiful
keep
message.
going. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. And and this is the thing about it. With all my illnesses, I was a caregiver of 3 people. A caregiver taking care of 3 people with everything I have going on. And I have to
Wow.
I have to do it.
Wow. That's a lot. That's really a lot.
Yeah.
Taking care of
It,
someone while you're having your own, physical challenges is
mhm.
really something. That's
It is.
amazing. That's amazing. Janice, I want to talk to you about your book. What inspired you to write I Am a Survivor and share your story with the world? After surviving so much, was the writing process therapeutic or difficult for you? Essentially, reliving those experiences on the page. What did you hope to accomplish by putting your journey into a book?
Mm. First, I have to say, I am not a writer.
Mm-hmm.
That's my husband. He did that. And really, how the book came about
Mm-hmm.
was because my gastrologist and some other doctors for many years kept telling me that I need to write a book. Until 2018, when my gastrologist told me, he said, Janice, look, I keep telling you to write this book. You have a story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
He said, right now I have 10 patients that have Crohn's disease. And out of the 10, you are the only one that it has not turned into full-blown cancer. And with that, every time you went and had surgery, I was so afraid and saying, this is it. This is it. And he said, I always will hold my breath. He said, but it never showed up. He said, your personality, your strength, and everything that takes you through, it can help so many people. You have a story to tell,
Yeah.
and you can do that. And so after that, in 2019 of February, I was in a car accident on the 2nd. And then 20 days later, I was in another car accident. Neither one of them was my
My
fault.
goodness.
And I'm like, wow. And the thing was, after the first one, we went to the ER and everything. The doctor told me, he said, no broken bones. You'll be able to get over this, whatever. He said, but we found something that we were not looking for. And I'm like, wow. And he told me what it was. And he you have lung cancer. And I'm sitting there trying to wrap my head around the situation.
Oh
And
my
he's
goodness.
don't let it depress you. I'm like, I'm not depressed. I'm trying to wrap my head around it and not grasping it. I'm I'm thinking throat, not lungs. I'm thinking, could it be scar tissue? Because I was
Mm-hmm.
thinking about my neck. my surgery for my neck. He said, yeah, it could be scar tissue. And so went on about, whatever. Now, we're head on that night. I was laying in the bed, and then it dawned on me. I'm like, dummy, he did not say throat. He said lung. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So then 20 days later, when I had the second accident, because I went to my lung doctor and they told me it wasn't nothing, da, da, da. And so I had them check to compare the test that they did 20 days before. And is it still there? They said, yes, it was. And I'm like, okay, because I was told that it could have been something wrong with the hospital machine. But I'm like, my husband had the same test. It didn't show up on him. So that was that for me. And writing the book, yeah, that's what did it. That's truly what made me decide to write the book. And as for learning something about myself, I learned that the things that as I was writing it, they was coming to me like you and I are having a conversation now. I would start remembering things. I realized I had I like to call it a selective photographic memory. And things was coming to me very, very clear. And I start putting them down. It wasn't really that much of a challenge writing it. It was that when I wrote it, it was just like stuff was just flowing because coming from my heart and what I went through and what I felt. And I realized that the things that, as I was writing, I realized you aren't that person. You already doing these things, sharing with people. You are a good person. But I did not ever put myself in that position, even though I was told, years ago that, people even gave me the nickname Dr. Holliman. But, until I had my surgery with developed Crohn's disease and when I really wrote the book, that was really when I realized that you are the person that you are writing about. So this is you. And that was what I realized. It made me realize that in seeing it in black and white, I guess that's what it was.
Yeah. Well, understanding, learning, and enjoying what you've written, even doing this interview with you, it's an absolute black and white. What we see, what we hear from you is, with all transparency, with all honesty, nothing is a fake here. I could
No.
say that. So, Janice, many listeners might be facing their own, battles in life, whether illness, loss, or other hardships. As someone who has come through so many trials, what advice or encouragement would you give to a listener out there who is in the middle of their own dark time? What would you say directly to them about finding hope and the strength to keep going?
Well, first thing I would tell them, cannot do it alone. That if you do not have the strength, lean on someone. Always have someone there that you could be able to talk to. Because sometimes you just need someone to talk with, someone to hear you. And even if you have a fatal illness, you do not have to let it take your inner self, meaning your good part of yourself. Don't let what's going on with you turn you to become mean and hatred. Really and truly, it is really a time to show that you focus on yourself and find out the things about yourself that you may want to change for the better. Things that you will like for people to view you as a good person, not as someone that is known as a person that they want to run from, but you want someone to be able to say, that was a good person. Because it's sad to say when a person dies at their funeral, what they do is talk about that person. You want them to be able to say something honestly good about you and be able to say, because when we all are born, there's nothing to be said about us because we haven't done anything. But as we live, we are become what we are. And that is why we want to make sure if something happened to us, that we leave that name or leave an impression of something rememberable, saying that was a good person. And that's it. And I like to say too, for caregivers, it's for you too, because you need that strength to keep going, to help your loved ones that is sick. And it's not easy being a caregiver because I tell you, being a caregiver of someone is hard work. It is, you don't get the recognition even from the ones that you are taking care of.
Yeah.
You are being put down even worse or whatever. So really and truly, my heart goes out to those ones or ones that have loved ones that know people that have loved ones or whatever. And it don't even have to be sickness. It could be
Yeah.
trial that you're going through, different difficulties and things in life. And because I know I forget one day, one lady told me, she looked at me, I need to pray for you. I said, no, you don't have to. Thank you, but no thank you. You need it. Well, you've done something wrong. Why all these things happen to you? I said, you know what? I said, you may feel that way, but I don't see it that way. I see it that I must be doing something right. Because if I haven't done something something right, or if something have not happened to me, or for me to feel like there is a trial for me, then I need to stop and think, what am I doing wrong? Nothing never happened to me or whatever. So I am blessed. And just told her, I said, I appreciate it, but that's just the way it is. I said, because I'm nobody, really and truly. Remember, the greatest man on earth came and he never did anything.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so things happen to him. So if things can happen to him, so who am I? You
Yeah.
know,
Agree.
who am I? I'm no one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Well, Janice, you may not be just a nobody, but you did something that, a lot of people had encountered your presence and your energy. You definitely are an inspiration. And your story is more than, survival. It's a masterclass of, encourage, faith, and, you know, refusing to give up. Just keep going. So I want to thank you for reminding us that even in life's hardest seasons, hope is still possible. So to our listeners, if Janice's journey moved, you can grab a copy. They can, find your book on Amazon, I Am a Survivor, and let her words inspire your own fight forward. We'll send you the link somewhere in this podcast. And this is the reason why we're doing this, podcast, Pages to Impact, where every story has the power to change your life, including yours. So until next time, keep turning pages and keep making an impact. Janice, thank you so much for being with us today. Please show your book to, our listeners and to our viewers in YouTube so they can, have a close look on the book. You can show it on camera, please.
Yes, I just want to say this is the book, I Am a Survivor, which is my autobiography, and it has 9 words that I focus on. Plus, it has 22 poems in it. And only to my second book here is a book of poetry, and it's a beautiful book. If you see the roses, it's just not.
Yeah.
on the outside, it all the way through, different things. So really and truly, so those poems came from my heart and really leaped off the page. And it helps me because I remember listening to them on audio. I wrote that, but really, I hope that you will check me out and get one or both of the books and read about it and give me a review and let me know exactly what you think about it, because that's the only way I can be able to see that I am reaching people or
Mhm.
even sharing my story, and hopefully that you walk away with just a smile on your face just for a split second. That will make my day. I would feel so good to know that someone said that my book encouraged them. And that is what I love about who I am and what I do now.
Awesome. Janice, I want to say congratulations. I believe you're working with an agency with your books right now. And what is that organization, by the way, if you don't mind?
Our book nation. And that is really good because Power Book Nation is really helping me with the marketing and on Facebook and everything like that. So yeah, so check me out and with Power Book Nation also. Yes.
So you'll definitely have our support, and we'll make sure that this podcast reaches to not just hundreds but thousands of our audiences, because your book is not just something that they would enjoy, but it will also change their lives. So once again, thank you so much for being on this podcast, and until our next episode, thank you so much.